Thomas shut his eyes. I must stop. He was too tired now to care where he went. I want to stop! I want to stop! I have stopped. Those buffers don't look very safe to me. Percy found that he couldn't stop. The buffers didn't stop him either. Oh, wailed Percy. Help! The buffers were broken, and Percy was wheel deep in coal. Horrors, cried Thomas, and shut his eyes. The house rocked, broken glass tinkled, plaster was everywhere. He banged the cars hard into the buffers, but the buffers weren't secure. The silly cars were sunk. Now for our plan, giggled the cars. Go faster, go faster. They pushed Thomas over the switches. Slow down, called Thomas's driver, and applied the brakes. Poor Thomas stood dazed and surprised in a muddy pond as a toad eyed him suspiciously. Bust my buffers, muttered Thomas. The day started so well, too. Look out, Percy, shouted his driver, and applied the brakes, but it was too late. The driver and fireman had jumped clear, but squashed fruit squirted all over Percy. Just like this, he boasted. As Percy was lining them up, they burst through some buffers.
Stop! Stop! Yelled Henry. A crossing lay ahead and the gates were closed. Toad couldn't stop. Worse still, the freight cars plunged into the ravine.
Better still, buzz off! Botheration!
Duck could see he was getting too close to the buffers. Look out! Duck shouted, but it was too late. Help! When he approached the chocolate factory, his driver applied the brakes. But Percy's wheels just skidded on the oily rails. Oh no, hooted Percy. Ooh, said Bill. Shit! No, Mavis cried. But it was too late. The chain pulling Duncan's slate cars couldn't hold the weight. It suddenly snapped. Duncan plummeted down the incline. Help! He yelled.
But he was so busy watching the windmill's sails that he forgot to look where he was going.
Is there a problem, Mr. Oliver?
Yeah, there is!
That could have been a little smoother.
Oliver felt awful, but there was trouble ahead. Some faulty points sent his freight cars one way and Thomas onto the old pier rail. Whoa! The troublesome trucks were delighted.
He's falling in the water!
Duncan's driver applied the brakes, but it was too late. The statue flew through the air and landed in the lake. Troublesome trucks hurtled into a siding. They biffed and bashed the buffers. So the next time Thomas saw Harry, he gave him a biff. Suddenly, Neville saw a barrier on the track. He slammed on his brakes. But it was too late. That looks like a good place for an adventure, said Duncan excitedly. I wonder what's down there. Duncan pushed his way through the barrier. With all his puff, Duncan bashed the freight cars. And they crashed and smashed through the boards. Skarloey was too heavy, and the winch broke. Whee! Puffed Skarloey as he raced down the hill. He raced past a very surprised Thomas and straight into the snowbank. He heard the flatbed crash into the buffers and then splash into the canal and biffed into the buffers. Sticky taffy splattered everywhere. Bowie jumped. His freight cars hit the buffers and bright white flour flew everywhere. Suddenly the signal turned red. James applied his brakes and screeched to a halt. But Edward couldn't stop in time. Sorry, puffed Edward. Then there was trouble. Just as he got to the top of the hill, the coupling came loose, and Skarloey rolled backwards. Help! Cried Skarloey, but it was too late. Skarloey's flatbed biffed into the sidings and came off the track. Oh! Then, with one mighty biff, Thomas sent Hector rolling backwards into a set of buffers. Hector crashed off the track. But Thomas was now going too fast to stop safely. He bashed into the barrier, and the light bulb broke. Peter Sam shot forward. He bashed his flatbed so hard, they burst through the buffers, smashed through the oil drums stacked on the wharf, and splashed into the canal. Straight into a barrier. Parcels flew everywhere. I'll never deliver the parcels on time now. Arthur's wheels spun as he raced straight into the buffers. The fish shot into the air. Oh no! Trouble.
It smashed into the tower. As the tower crashed to the ground, bricks and dust exploded everywhere. All the hard work was wasted. Then there was trouble. The tunnel ahead was blocked. "Oh no!" cried Thomas. He applied his brakes, but it was too late. Thomas crashed straight through the blocked tunnel. With a mighty splash, Thomas landed in a pool of water. Oh, frizzling fireboxes! He crashed through a thick wall of bushes. He flew across a ravine and hit the ground with a bump.
He hit the buffers, and the billboard flew into the lake. Level crossing. It smashed against the gate. Coconuts rolled everywhere. Sam smashed into a buffer. The cream churns crashed. The junction was blocked. Harry and Bert were enjoying a rest at the engine sheds, but Thomas and Diesel couldn't see them. They raced backwards towards Harry and Bert. With a crash and a bang, Thomas and Diesel smashed Harry and Bert right through the back of the engine sheds. Stones and timber flew everywhere. He hit the buffers with a big bump. More of the special blocks bounced off his flatbed. He steamed into a siding. Skylo, he bashed through the buffers. And with a splash, a sploosh, and a splosh, Skylo plunged into Percival Pond. James had to screech into a siding. His wheels whirred, and he bumped into the buffers. Luckily, no one was hurt. Then there was trouble. The popping corks hit the signalman. He was so surprised, he pulled the wrong lever. The tracks changed. James was sent into a siding. James bumped the buffers. Luckily, no one was hurt. Oh! Gordon swerved and swayed into a siding. He bashed the buffers and toppled off the track. They biffed into buffers. Percy was so surprised, he bashed and crashed into a siding and straight into a heap of coal.
Flatten my funnel. Flash, bang, wallop!
James was so surprised, he hit the buffers and his wheels bounced off the track.
Bridge had gone back up. His driver and fireman had to jump clear. To the buffers at the end of the track. The barrels of strawberry, raspberry, and even apricot jam flew into the air, then smashed to the ground.
We'll be out of the woods soon, and then...
Thomas had hit a rotten buffer in the undergrowth, and his wheels had come right off the track.
Oh no! I can't back up!
The entrance to the old mine had only recently been reboarded up. But even that couldn't stop them.
Back in amazement, just you watch him go.
You weren't helpful that time you pushed those cars into the sea, were you?
And then they let their brakes slip off again.
Oh no! I've got to get across! I can't stop now!
shunting yard!